Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my channel? Thank you so much. A sudden fire broke out, and Daisy instinctively shielded her male assistant. Even with burns, she insisted on taking him to the hospital first, yet she never even glanced at me, passed out in the smoke. I was in the ICU for a month before barely clawing my way back to life. After I woke up, I saw Daisy had messaged me to make soup for her assistant. She said, "Daisy's been hospitalized these past few days. Make him his favorite soup and bring it over." I felt my heart sink. I finally saw her for who she really is. The first day, I was discharged with red eyes. I canceled the IVF appointment and booked a flight abroad for 3 days later. From then on, it was like we were strangers. We went our separate ways just after I got the purchase confirmation text. Daisy called. "Alan, what did you buy that cost so much? Do you think money is easy to make? Everything about IVF costs money. Do you still want a child or not?" Faced with her interrogation, I felt nothing but calm. I had been in the hospital for half a month, and she didn't call once to check on me. Now, just after spending $2,000, she couldn't wait to reprimand me. Standing in the hospital entrance, I took a deep breath and told her, "Yeah, I don't want to do IVF anymore." Daisy paused for a moment, then laughed sarcastically, throwing attitude. "Now, huh? It's just a bowl of soup for Daisy. Why are you freaking out? He's capable and young. He helps me so much at work. Look at you, you're not 18 anymore." Her sharp words felt like a knife to my chest. Before, I would have been flustered by her words and tried to explain myself. Seeing her risking everything to save Daisy from the fire, my heart just went numb. Thanks to Daisy's reminder, I realized they were together when they were 18, and it's been 12 years. In those 12 years, they were always ready to welcome a child, but for some reason, Daisy never got pregnant. We tried IVF regardless, yet she'd always find reasons to cancel appointments by herself. Now I understand. Maybe even the universe was telling me we weren't meant to be. I hung up, tossing my wedding ring and flowers into the trash. During my month in the hospital, Daisy didn't visit once. She just sent over a few red roses with a card for simple words, "Love you as before." Before I could feel touched, I saw Daisy's new post on social media. A man standing amidst 999 roses, looking happy. The caption said, "Thanks to the beautiful CEO for the release gift and for the month of care." And just a moment later, Daisy commented below, "It's only right to care for you. Seeing you suffer makes my heart ache too. Too bad the car got lost. I'll write you a letter next time." I finally understood those words were meant for Daisy. The roses she sent were just leftovers from someone else's gift, and my place in her heart was just as dispensable. A cab pulled up outside my house as Daisy was heading out. Seeing me get out with luggage, she walked over with a black face. "Where the hell have you been this past month? The house is filthy, and you didn't clean. I don't want to work, and now I have to do the chores too." I was about to ask if she forgot I was at the fire scene too. Then her phone rang, and Daisy's voice came through. "Daisy, where are you? I miss you." Daisy's face softened the moment she answered. Then she joyfully walked out, reminding me to clean up. Even as she walked away, her happy laughter echoed. My hand clenched tight. I finally saw my place in her world. Years by her side, never a complaint, no matter the struggle. But now, I couldn't go on with her any longer. 3 attempts at entering the code at the door failed before I realized Daisy had changed it. I asked her for it, but there was no response. In the freezing cold, I waited 3 hours until she returned. With an irritable voice, she said, "The code is 1024. If you can't remember, don't come back. I don't have time for your problems." Only when she said it did I realize it was their day of holding hands. Because when Daisy posted their picture, Daisy and I had a huge fight. She accused me of being petty. I was mad at her lack of boundaries. We didn't talk for 3 days, so I remembered it well. How ridiculous. Over 10 years in this house, not a single number related to me. But in less than 3 years, she gave him something I always longed for. 2.5 days left until I leave. Returning inside, I opened a suitcase, packing up my things. The closet was full of Daisy's clothes. I only realized that not much of mine was there. I used to be poor, always saving money for her. In winter, I'd even skip buying myself a coat, But later, I found out all that saved money went to Daisy. With a sigh, I folded my clothes and put them in the suitcase. Daisy texted me. I booked IVF for tomorrow. Rest well tonight. Stop acting like everyone owes you this time. Make it work. I'm starting to think it's you who can't get pregnant. I just replied with a simple, got it, explaining nothing more. After all, I'm canceling IVF and leaving soon. Whether or not she can have a baby now isn't my concern anymore. After tidying up, I suddenly remembered the IVF documents in the nightstand. I picked them up for a quick look and noticed a few missing condoms in the drawer. I clearly remember Daisy bought them, and we haven't used them since. Since we couldn't conceive, Daisy always thought the problem was with me. Over time, she lost interest in being intimate with me. I opened my phone and scrolled through Daisy's social media. Sure enough, I discovered Daisy brought him home yesterday. I stood there dumbfounded. Driven by a strange urge, I rummaged through the bedroom trash. Finally, at the very bottom, I found evidence of used condoms for two. I collapsed on the floor, unable to process it. My mind went blank, but my heart ached quietly. I initially wanted an amicable separation with her. Clearly, that's unnecessary now. I called the hospital and told them I won't attend any future IVF appointments. The staff sounded surprised. Are you sure? If you don't come, it means canceling the process. All efforts and data will. I'll be lost. Are you ready for that? Staring at the trash, I felt no hesitation in canceling. Then I messaged my lawyer to start drafting the divorce papers. Over a decade of feelings for Daisy disappeared in that moment. Daisy didn't come home all night, so when I saw her sitting on the couch the next day, I was surprised. Daisy, noticing I was up, sarcastically said, "You're a grown man waking up almost at noon. People would think I'm married a pig. Look at Daisy. She's up early and working. You're so lazy." I couldn't help but laugh. I always used to wake up early to make her breakfast before work, and for just one day of sleeping late, she insulted me. Before, her words would have made me furious, but now I calmly walked past her, ignoring whatever she said. Daisy seemed surprised by my indifference, and her face darkened briefly before brightening again. After I washed up, she pulled me to sit beside her. Her expression was odd, yet she stayed silent. I frowned, a bit annoyed, and asked, "What do you want to say?" Daisy finally broke the silence. "I can't make it to the IVF appointment this afternoon." Without thinking, I replied, "It's fine anyway." I had already canceled them. Her attendance didn't matter. Daisy was briefly stunned by my response. I didn't need to guess her thoughts. Before, her excuses would lead to arguments, but now all she got was my indifference. "Fine." Daisy leaned closer, almost unbelievingly asking, "You're not mad?" I chuckled lightly, confused about why I should be angry. I don't love her anymore, so what's the point? I simply nodded. Daisy seemed satisfied and patted my head patronizingly, which disgusted me, making me turn away. Obliviously, she continued, "You should always be like this. Getting upset over little things is exhausting. Only I could put up with you. Anyone else would have gone mad by now." I looked down silently, browsing travel guides, saying nothing as she finished her sentence. I merely said, "Got it." Then I quickly dressed and headed out. The lawyer had just informed me via message that the divorce papers were ready. Initially, I planned to rest today and pick them up tomorrow, but with Daisy back, I felt restless. The cafe where I was meeting the lawyer was nearby. After retrieving the papers, Daisy soon texted me, like always, asking what she should cook for dinner. Normally, I'd rush out to buy what she asked for. Daisy had specific tastes unlike mine. She didn't like onions and cilantro, which I loved. But if she disliked them, they never appeared in my cooking. Yet now, with the divorce papers in hand, at the grocery, I instinctively grabbed everything I enjoyed. By the time I returned from the store, it was dark. As I opened the door, I was met with the sound of laughter. The two turned to look at me, while Daisy's hand casually rested on another person's leg. I pretended not to notice, swapping shoes at the entrance. Daisy came over to help with my jacket, sounding slightly impatient. "Why so late? Daisy and I are starving." Seeing the other man's smug face made me frown apologetically. He said, "Sorry, Alan. Daisy told me she was cooking, so I came over." If I'm in the way, I'll leave. He made a move to stand, but Daisy pushed him back, eyebrows furrowed. What are you saying? Alan can cook. No trouble, right? Alan, I placed the groceries down. Not wanting to entertain their back and forth banter, I calmly replied, if you want to eat, just stay. Their eyes lit up instantly. Somewhat disbelieving, Daisy asked me cautiously, you're not mad, right? I nodded, focusing on the veggies in my hands. Daisy stopped bothering me after that and went back to fooling around on the couch. My flight was the next morning, so this was our last meal together. It was like bringing a close to our decade-long relationship, so I put extra care into making this meal. By the time the last dish was served, the room was quiet. I stepped out to see Daisy gently covering Daisy with a blanket. My gaze lingered, and I felt a tinge of bitterness. When Daisy saw me step out of the kitchen, her expression soured a little. She pulled me back to the kitchen, chiding, you said you weren't mad. Why'd it take you so long to cook? Calmly, I explained. I made some complex dishes, so it took a bit longer. Without waiting for her response, I sat at the table and started eating alone. Daisy was already a little upset, and seeing the dishes covered in green onions only made it worse. Just as I picked up a bite of rice, she suddenly lost it. She dumped all the food I'd made into the trash. Daisy was furious, but kept her voice low so she wouldn't wake up the other Daisy in the living room. She pointed at me, accusing, Alan, did you do it on purpose? I didn't answer. I just looked regretfully at the food in the trash. I'd spent all evening cooking, and I hadn't even tasted it before Daisy threw it away. I sighed and thought maybe it was destiny. Seeing my calm face, Daisy showed a brief hint of panic. She wanted to apologize, but couldn't swallow her pride. So she went to the living room, woke Daisy, and left with her in silence. I cleaned up and washed my hand before grabbing my phone. Daisy had updated her profile at 1 a.m. She posted a picture full of delicious food. It wasn't until I read Daisy's comment that I realized she made it all for Daisy. I chuckled bitterly, and tears started falling as I left, brushing them away. My cheeks were already wet. Funny how it doesn't seem like I love her anymore, yet still hurts. The next morning, I left the divorce papers in plain view on the table. I left a note saying, I have no regrets loving you all these years. I've canceled the IVF. Don't look for me. Goodbye for good. Just as I finished writing, I received a message from Daisy. She apologized, saying I was wrong last night. I neglected you these past days. I'll cook tonight and make it up to you, all right? With a sarcastic laugh, I ignored the message and turned off my phone. Then, grabbing my luggage, I boarded a plane abroad. A few hours on the plane were enough to revisit a decade of memories. The more I thought about it, the more the young Alan seemed pathetic. In the early years of marriage, I moved to her city alone. Aside from her, I knew no one. So when she asked me to handle things at home so she could start a business, I agreed without hesitation. When her business failed, I gave her $200K from my savings to help. But as her company grew, she forgot my sacrifices and criticized me for doing nothing at home. She constantly praised Daisy for all the help she provided. At the time, her words made me feel small. As Daisy and she grew closer, I feared being left alone. So I pretended not to notice painful memories gnawing at my heart like ants, leaving nothing but sorrow. It wasn't until the plane landed that I pulled myself out of those memories. Daisy thought I'd stay home waiting for her to come back and cook, but in reality, I was already in Finland. Once off the plane, I turned on my phone and immediately saw countless messages from Daisy. She kept calling, demanding to know where I was. Even Daisy messaged, scolding me for my behavior toward her. I glanced at the messages and let out a cold laugh. Then I blocked both their numbers without hesitation. I wasn't planning to stay in Finland long, so I did some research and found a lodge run by folks from back home. As I caught a cab from the airport, I felt the warmth of home even before arriving. But there was a slight hiccup. Having just arrived, I hadn't had the chance to exchange any money. Excited yet unsure, I stood awkwardly outside the lodge. A young woman checking in noticed my predicament. Speaking fluent Finnish, she explained things to the cab driver and paid for my ride. Grateful, I pulled out my phone to repay her. Looking up, I realized she was the lawyer who drafted my divorce papers. Surprised, I asked, "Mandy, what are you doing here?" She seemed to recall and laughed. "After months of work, I just wanted a break." I nodded in understanding. Walking into the lodge together, I noticed she was alone too. About to speak, Mandy turned and asked, "Since we're both here, how about dinner together?" Shyly, I nodded and said, "Sure." Just as Mandy was about to say something else, my phone rang. Apologizing, I went to a quiet corner to take the call. It was Daisy on the other end, using a different number. I listened, silent and a bit exasperated. As Daisy's angry voice surged through the phone, she questioned me. "Alan, why are you always so moody? What's going on this time? Just because I didn't go with you for IVF, you're going to divorce me?" I thought she'd change a bit after I left. Turns out I was just fooling myself. I overestimated how much I mattered to her. Annoyed, I hung up, not wanting to hear any more nonsense. I grabbed my stuff and went back to the room to rest. Lying in bed, it all felt kind of surreal. Finland is such a romantic place. Over the years, I told Daisy many times I wanted to visit. She always said no, blaming work. But later, she posted on social media that she wanted to see the snow, then saying it was a business trip. She took Daisy to MT Fuji. They stood under sea, cherry blossoms holding hands, making promises never to depart. I tried to clear my mind and finally got some sleep. 10 long years flashed by like a movie. Waking up, all of it was just memories. I sat by the window watching the sunset when Mandy texted me to grab dinner. I said okay and was about to put my phone away. Just then, a video from Daisy popped up on another platform. Only an idiot would refuse. Such a patient and caring woman. Maybe he sprained his ankle. Daisy, who's usually a neat freak, was kneeling down, gently putting shoes on him. I smirked at the irony, but he's wrong about one thing. Daisy was never like that with me. Her patience and care were always reserved for him. I changed my clothes and headed downstairs. Mandy had been waiting for me in the lobby for quite a while. Feeling a bit guilty, I said sorry for keeping you waiting. Something came up. Mandy waved it off, saying it was no big deal. Relieved, I let it go. We went to a popular local restaurant. Only when we got there did we realize it had another name, the Date Spot. We brushed it off and sat down, acting natural while waiting for food. Mandy shared her travel plans with me. I was surprised because her plans matched mine. Our next stop was Switzerland. We quickly decided to become travel buddies. The more we talked, the more I realized we had a lot in common. Just as I was happy, I wasn't traveling alone anymore. Two familiar figures walked in. The couple looked so in love, holding each other like a married pair. They were smiling sweetly until they saw me. Daisy, noticing a girl sitting across from me, stormed over without a word. Standing in front of me, she asked, "Who is she?" I didn't even have time to respond before the guy with Daisy interjected. "Alan, are you mad at Daisy? So you're out with another woman?" Manny looked a bit lost sitting across from me. I rolled my eyes at the two. Daisy, seeing I wasn't planning to explain, lifted her hand in anger. Before it could come down on Mandy, I grabbed Daisy's hand, disgusted, and said, "Stop acting crazy." I let go, not caring to see her reaction. Daisy was shocked at my move. She was stunned, disbelief on her face. Mandy, annoyed, tried to pull me away. Daisy clung to my sleeve, looking confused. "Alan, did you leave me for her?" Before I could answer, the guy with Daisy stepped forward, looking at Daisy in concern. "Daisy, why act solo? Didn't you say you'd be with me once you divorced him? Why hesitate now?" Hearing that, I yanked my hand free with a bitter laugh. I thought they'd finally embrace, celebrating their love, but unexpectedly, Daisy slapped him hard, saying, "What nonsense! I'd only marry Alan. You took my joke seriously." I didn't care. I took Mandy's hand and walked away. We didn't stop until the noise behind us faded. I let go of her hand, noticing she was a bit flushed. Maybe we walked too fast. I awkwardly said, "Sorry if I scared you back there." Mandy said nothing, keeping her head down, thinking she was upset. I quickly added, "With all that drama, we didn't even eat. How about we pee? Another place. My treat. I heard of this great restaurant in Finland. Want to check it out with me?" Finally looking up, Mandy, with a caring gaze, said it must have been rough with all that before. I paused, feeling emotional. All those years with Daisy, I never got even an ounce of sympathy. Yet someone I'd known for days now felt sorry for me. I pushed away the sadness, pretending it didn't bother me, and said, "It's okay. We're divorced now. Let's eat. I'm starving." Mandy, seeing I was okay, dropped her low mood, grabbing my sleeve and leading me to another restaurant. She kept chatting to cheer me up. This was a feeling I'd never had with Daisy. My heart felt warm. After dinner, we headed back to the inn together. We planned to spend a day in Finland tomorrow and then head to Switzerland. We're waking up early to catch the northern lights the next day. Mandy and I spent a busy day setting up a tent in the snow. At dusk, the northern lights slowly appeared in the dark sky. I snapped a photo and posted it on social media. Mandy, who was excited to see the lights, pulled me to the campfire. We gazed at the sky and made wishes together. In the past, I might have wished for Daisy and my family's safety and for my business to thrive, but now I just want to see my family again. Mandy noticed my mood after I made my wish. She curiously asked me what was wrong. I forced a smile and shared a secret I had been keeping. Years ago, I was dating Daisy. I thought we'd live happily with our parents' blessings like others, but on the day we met the parents, my mom pulled me aside. She told me, "I won't agree to your marriage." I was puzzled and asked why. She hesitated and finally said, "Your astrology signs don't match, and that girl doesn't seem to like you much." My dad also gently advised me to marry someone else. At that time, I didn't listen, thinking my mom just didn't like Daisy. So when I insisted on marrying Daisy and my mom threatened to cut ties, I thought she was just angry. Little did I know that for over 10 years after our marriage, we stayed out of contact. 3 years into the marriage, my dad called, saying, "Your mom didn't want you two together because we overheard her on a call. Your mom's just too stubborn to reach out, and so are you." I was too caught up in my new marriage bliss to care and never got back to them. Now I believe my dad. Maybe Daisy was seeing someone else before we got married. I chuckled bitterly, feeling a pang of guilt. "Do you think it's too late to apologize to him now?" Mandy comforted me, saying, "It's never too late. After all, they're my parents." There was a spark of hope in my eyes. One reason I couldn't face my mom was I had asked Daisy the same question. Her response was, "This is our home now. Your parents didn't want us together, so why bother?" I figured my mom must hate me as much as Daisy said, so I never reached out to them. But Mandy gave me a clear answer. I've decided that once I get back from Switzerland, I'll apologize to my parents. That photo I posted accidentally caused. Mandy's silhouette friends unaware commented, "You two are still so in love. Amazing after all these years. I'm so envious of your long-lasting love." Seeing their comments, I had to explain to each one, but there were too many, so I posted a status clarifying that Daisy and I had divorced. Mandy and I spent a few days in Finland, then headed to Switzerland. In a few short days, we got along like old friends. We never argued and were surprisingly in sync over the smallest things. I couldn't help but remember the honeymoon trip with Daisy, our only vacation together. We argued for 6 out of the 7 days, with peace only on the flight home where silence was necessary. Perhaps everything was destined. Even fate showed our incompatibility early on, but I ignored it. On our last day, we went skiing in Engelberg. Mandy was all geared up and eager to try skiing. Though she wasn't skilled yet, she stood at the edge, inching along. But she was quick to learn. Watching others, she quickly got the hang of it. I stayed behind her, ready to catch her if she fell. It was a war moment interrupted by someone skiing past too fast, spraying a snow wave over a meter high. Instinctively, I shielded Mandy. Once the snow settled, Mandy glanced over my shoulder. My field of vision was covered in snow, so I couldn't see her expression. She laughed, dusting the snow off my shoulders. I asked what was so funny. Mandy wiped the snow off my goggles and pointed. The skier who caused the snow wave had fallen in the nearby clearing. I looked at the clumsy figure and chuckled. Then the skier removed their helmet, revealing a familiar face. Daisy was pouting, looking off into the distance. Following her gaze, I noticed Daisy watching. Maybe my stare was too intense. Daisy glanced my way too. We made brief eye contact. A flash of panic crossed her face, but vanished quickly. I turned away, pretending not to notice, and focused on helping Mandy ski. Sensing my change in mood, Mandy became a bit quieter too. I lost track of when Daisy, holding her skis, returned to the starting point. As he was about to dash down, he passed right by us, his skis pointed up, just like earlier when he scattered the snow around. But this time, we clearly saw his move. Turns out Daisy recognized me and was purposefully kicking up snow in our direction. I was just about to get back at him for that, but Mandy beat me to it. She grabbed some snow from the ground and threw it right in Daisy's face. Before he could even glide onto the open space, he slipped and fell. Mandy and I doubled over laughing hard. Daisy got up, glared at us like he wanted to tear us apart, but Mandy and I didn't care. She even made a silly face at him. Daisy couldn't take it anymore and walked over to Mandy. "Aren't you going way too far? Is this how you blatantly bully people?" Daisy followed behind. I pulled Mandy behind me, blocking her. I knew she did it for me, so when Daisy messed with her, I had to step in. Seeing my move, Daisy's eyes turned a bit red. She looked at me. "Alan, why are you defending her?" I let out a sarcastic laugh and retorted, "Should I be defending you instead?" Daisy pointed at me with a trembling hand. "Alan, we've been married so long. How can you take someone else's side?" I impatiently reminded her. "Did you forget we're already divorced? Need me to read you the divorce papers again?" Daisy was left speechless. Then Daisy suddenly interjected, "Alan, it's bad enough you treat me like this, but why talk to Daisy that way? You've been with Daisy for years. Sneaking here to ski with someone else behind her back is one thing. But now you blame her? Have you no shame?" I underestimated Daisy's nerve to twist things around. Dealing with these two pests, my patience wore thin fast. "If you care so much, keep her out of trouble, all right?" Mandy added from behind. "Yeah, exactly." After that, I took Mandy's hand, planning to find a quieter place to ski. Daisy yelled my name hopelessly from behind. "Alan, have you really forgotten all our years together?" I didn't turn back and just replied, "You're right, I did." We walked away until they were out of sight, and I finally let out a sigh. It's not like you can just forget so many years of memories, but these recent happy days helped me push aside my worries, making my decision clearer. Even though Daisy and I were in the same place traveling after she saw my divorce note, she didn't come to stop me. When we ran into each other, she pretended to be sad just to give a fake attempt at winning me back. Mandy saw my pale face and comforted me with some praise. "Do you realize how amazing you were just now? It takes real guts to say goodbye to your past." I couldn't do it. Her words made my eyes light up. "Really?" Mandy nodded firmly, giving me a thumbs up. "You're brave. You deserve it." I couldn't help but laugh. The dark mood instantly dissolved. I am brave. After years with Daisy, being used to each other, leaving takes serious courage, and I've got it. The short trip was over fast. Mandy and I boarded the plane back home. We eventually went our separate ways in the same city, but we promised each other we'd dive in the Maldives when spring arrived. Even though we just parted, I'm already excited for it. Daisy somehow knew I was back home. I had barely gotten off the plane when she showed up at the airport. I was stunned for a bit, but noticed Daisy wasn't with her. Seeing my thoughts, she quickly added, "I fired Daisy. I'm done with having anything to do with him." I softly responded, "Oh, what's it got to do with me?" Daisy hesitated, not getting mad. She silently followed me until I hailed a cab. Just then, she asked if I was going to see my parents. I didn't answer. She knew what it meant. I didn't bother with her as I got into the cab. Daisy tried to join, but I blocked her. "Why follow me home?" I shut the door before she could reply. Running into them abroad was annoying enough. In the cab, I dozed a bit, then realized Daisy was tailing us in another car. I sighed in frustration, instructing the driver to take a detour. Eiley, Daisy only visited my home once. Unaware of the exact location, the driver was good, shaking her off soon as we neared my parents' place. My heart started racing. It's been over a decade since we met. Would they even recognize me? The more I thought about it, the guiltier I felt. I didn't even know if the money I sent to their account over the years had been noticed. As I was lost in thought, the car stopped in front of my house. An elderly person stood at the door, gazing into the distance with a hopeful look in her eyes. I got out of the car and realized it was my mother, whom I hadn't seen for years. Her eyesight wasn't great, but she recognized me the moment I stepped out of the car. She stood at the door a bit overwhelmed, wiping her hands on her clothes repeatedly. My eyes instantly filled with tears. As one fell down my cheek, I quickly stepped forward and hugged her tightly. "Mom," I said. She seemed stunned at first, just staring at me. But when I said that word, she hugged me tightly in return. Dad heard the commotion and came out too, calling my childhood name with excitement. We hugged each other and cried, but no one mentioned why it had been so long since we last met. My mom, who looked like she had aged 10 years, suddenly had a smile on her face when she saw me. She seemed more vibrant too. During my time at home, the table was always filled with my favorite dishes. Mom even bought lots of snacks I loved as a kid, just in case I showed up suddenly and there was nothing to offer. I noticed some of the snacks were way past their expiration date. I tore open a package and ate them in big bites under Mom's hopeful gaze. I ate too fast and choked a bit. Mom laughed with joy, just like she did when I was little, and reached out to help me catch my breath. I joined her laughter. We laughed until tears ran down our faces. At some point, Daisy had somehow got my old home's address. I ran into her while taking out the trash, noticing she was going door to door with a note. I pulled her aside into a corner, a bit annoyed. "We broken up. What's the point of this?" Daisy, still not catching on to my accusing tone, stood there unsure before speaking up. "But Alan, I don't want to be apart from you." I already fired Daisy. "If you don't believe me, go ask the office," she pleaded. "Please don't leave me." I furrowed my brows in frustration, not understanding her persistence. I still spoke with irritation. "I don't care if it's true or not, Daisy. Don't you think saying this now is fake? Saying you don't want to leave me now, what's the point? What about what you did before?" Daisy was stunned by my words and didn't respond for a long time. "Others might be young and capable, helping me at work in ways you can't imagine. But look at you. You're not 18 anymore." Right after saying this, I turned to leave. Daisy tried to step forward and grab my hand, but couldn't gather the courage. She watched me walk away and asked one last time, "Alan, do you really not love me anymore?" I stopped without turning back. The moment you held Daisy while leaving the fire, my heart died. After meeting Daisy again, she never appeared in my life. Later, I heard from a friend that she had somehow gone crazy, taking out $20,000 from her shares for charity. Hearing this hardly moved me. I just took it as a casual joke. Winter passed into spring, and soon it was time for my plan meeting with Mandy. We hadn't been in touch for a long time, but still met up as if on cue. We walked together under the sunset at the Maldives airport. The dim lights stretched our shadows long, much like our lives ahead, growing wild and passionate.